on the show. Well, things are happening thick and fast in the Trump impeachment saga. The second public impeachment hearing is currently underway. It has been touted as the most crucial hearing till now. Political experts have reckoned it could be the final week of the months-old impeachment inquiry against the U.S. president. Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Jerry Nadler, made a bold opening statement. He said that President Donald Trump had put himself before the country. This was followed by remarks by Doug Collins, a top Republican on the committee, who strongly spoke against Trump's impeachment. Earlier in the day, the House Judiciary Committee had released a report laying out the historical arguments for impeachment. While the report does not accuse Trump of impeachable offences, it does lay the groundwork for today's hearing. And a group of lawyers from two House committees are scheduled to testify as well. The first group is from the Intelligence Committee, which investigated Trump's efforts to pressure Ukraine to investigate his political rival Joe Biden. And the second group of lawyers is from the Judiciary Committee, the committee which investigated the findings of the Mueller report. Now, the hearing could result in material from the Mueller report also becoming a part of the hearings. The decision on whether to include evidence gathered by the Mueller report in the impeachment process has long been a matter of debate among the Democrats. Many Democrats fear that including the Mueller report findings could support the argument that the whole impeachment process is a call for anti-Trump grievances. President Trump has repeatedly said that the Mueller report frees him from all blame, while on the other hand, several Democrats see the Mueller report as useful evidence. They see the findings laid out in the second half of the Mueller report as potential obstruction of justice by President Trump. Obstruction of justice is one of the grounds on which the Democrats are looking to target Trump. Today's hearing could also be seen as a possible introduction of articles of impeachment. The Democrats have signaled they are weighing three grounds for Trump's impeachment. These are the abuse of power, obstruction in the Congress, and obstruction of justice.
It was not a cognizable point of order. It was not.
And well, Wion's correspondent Kevin is now joining us live from Washington for the latest on this. And Kevin, thanks for talking to us this evening. Now, the impeachment hearings at a critical stage. What happens? What are the implications? Will this now go to a full House vote next?
Well, this is what's being decided. We're into the latest testimony up on Capitol Hill. Both sides will be putting forward their cases for the impeachment of Donald Trump. Expect the Dems, obviously, to be arguing for that to go ahead in the form of those articles of impeachment. And you're going to hear from Republicans during what's expected to be 8 hours of testimony today why they don't think that Donald Trump should become the third president in US history to be impeached. So we're going to be going through that previously put forward and summarised report by the House Intelligence Committee. That's what they're poring over. Those are the details they're going through with a fine-tooth comb today. And then at the end of all of this, we are moving, according to Jerry Nadler, towards deciding on whether to bring those articles of impeachment and what those articles of impeachment will look like. Will they just focus on that infamous Ukraine call back in July, or will they be broadened out? There are arguments within the Democrat Party over whether or not they should go with that streamlined Ukraine focus, or whether there should be a broader offensive against the president that they believe has been committing multiple offences of office pretty much since the day he walked into the White House. After that, it will go to a Judiciary Committee vote. After that, that will be broadened out potentially to a full House vote. And then we go into part two, which will, of course, be the trial before the Senate. In terms of a timeline, the Democrats want their end of the impeachment situation to be done and dusted by the end of this year. The Senate will pick up the baton in January. In fact, Congress has already said it's cleared its schedule, and we could see that impeachment trial, if we get to that point, conducted over the first 2 weeks of the new year. That's the timeline that we're working with at the moment. But we've still got a long way to go. Right, absolutely a long way to go there, Kevin. But also the other issue in this is
the Mueller report, to include it or not, has been the real dilemma really for the Democrats, whether how important will be the Mueller report or will it be counterproductive?
That's exactly the argument that Democrats are having. There are many who believe that when Robert Mueller finally released that 448-page report, that it would be the moment when Donald Trump's presidency came sort of tumbling down. And that's not what happened. While they couldn't rule out obstruction of justice, they did say in that report that Donald Trump and his associates on his campaign did not collude with the Russians to interfere in the election. So perhaps not what some Democrats were hoping for in terms of an outcome, but then you have other Democrats who are saying, look, this report is simply too toxic for us. We can't touch it. Even if there is an inconclusive sort of detail on whether or not there was obstruction of justice committed by this president, the report itself just did not ignite the public imagination once it had been released. It is a legacy that we need to move on from. We should be focusing instead on this transcript, which very clearly, according to the Democrats, shows that Donald Trump tried to get Ukraine to support his efforts to target a political rival. That rival, of course, potentially being Joe Biden in the 2020 election. So it's still a lot of debate over whether or not the Dems will be bolstered and helped by continuing to embrace the Mueller report, or if there's simply time to put that to bed and move forward with the Ukraine focus.
Well, absolutely, Kevin. Thanks very much indeed for joining us and sharing all the details of what's exactly happening with the Trump impeachment hearings. They're in a critical stage, and of course, the Democrats, they're pushing for an early vote before the end of the year.